All right, there's no public hearing, no personal appearances, so we're going to go straight into departmental business, and the light gas player looks like first. Yeah. Something I got from you. Okay. Are you on Zoom? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Mayor, Board, hang on. If we can get situated here. I tell you, I've got someone here to make an update on the project for us. Rudy Watkins with Pat. They're the group that have been looking at our the street lights in town. The project that we have with them, I guess what they have brought to us, and we actually put this concept out to bid. They wanted the bid to I guess take an inventory of our street lights. And the way the project works, following the inventory, they're presenting a plan to us where they can replace all the street lights, and it ends up being like a kind of a lease purchase type deal. You know, I'll let Rudy get into it a little bit more, but basically we'll be able to change all the street lights out in town to LED lights that are out there. So this will standardize all the lights across the city. I guess the good part about this is that we can basically use the savings from the energy that's going from these other sources to LED, and that would pay for the project. So the city would not pay out any money. Y'all, can y'all hear me okay? We just put another computer up. I got a little feedback here, but can y'all hear me okay?
We can.
Everything good? Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to get Rudy Watkins with Pat to come, and he's going to present where we are with the project.
Hello, everybody. Really normally the audience is in the air. Let me share my screen. Grab my pen. All right. Well, I'll make this short. And as Mr. Maddox alluded to, we're a firm that's been working on the streetlight project for inventory of the streetlights for the last 4 months. It's really kicked things off. Started at the beginning of the year. So we had our audit team out there, boots on the ground, and we counted and inventory every streetlight you have. So we know exactly how. So we took all that information and we put it into our case and created a new GIS map file. Where all your street lights are and what type of lights you have today, and boiled that down and looked at how we can improve the lighting throughout the city, as well as balancing how much money can we save, with these technologies today. We're trying to throw that in, put 400 watt fixtures out everywhere. Nobody saves money. Still have to be good. So with that in mind, I wanted to bring to you. This is just a refresher on what you're spending today. You guys spend about $160,000 a year on your streetlights, and that's a payment to Mr. Maddox over to Albany, water. And on that, you spend on your investment charge. We're going to build and our team will work on that structure. Hire the app for those more. That GIS map that I talked about just a little bit ago, those are all your streetlights today, all the different colors, all the different wattages, different pipes, and that are out there. So when you look at 1492, within the corporate limit, we didn't look at anything outside of New Albany, light, gas, and water service area. But along with what we call the base project, which is just the streetlights that are out there today, we also looked at a from what our team observed and the history that we have, and the experience that we have some upgraded lighting levels. Some areas in the Tanglefoot Trail area, the downtown area with the direct decorative fixtures and the what we call the overheads, as well as down Bakehead Street that I'm going to talk to you guys about. But what we're talking about today is about a 90% done or 90% baked product. There's still a few kinks that we're working with Albany, like gas and water on, when it comes to finalizing the budget, as well as pairing it with our friends over thanking Albany and the financing of what the impact would be to the city and the budget. So those are a few of the details and variables that we'll be working through in the next 30 days between now and the next board meeting. When I come back in April, I will tell you to the extent what it's going to cost, what it's going to save, and how we're going to move forward. So fair? Okay. One other thing I wanted to talk about the uniqueness of how, and I think Bill alluded to this, how our company was procured. We were procured under you guys went out and signed, told us what you wanted, and we gave you a bid, right? You went out and selected some qualifications. The statute actually allows for our firm to do the financing as well, so it's all kind of one big package, which eliminates all, you guys went out for financing for bids, and I'm going to get what that looks like here in just a second. Okay, along with changing each street lights, out the LED that's already out there today, there are 3 areas that we focused on for what we like to call our special projects that we're going to group into this. The first one's the downtown area. The overheads that are sit over the street right now, those are already LED, and you have all the decoratives over there as well. We're going to change out all the decoratives, that post top that you see there, and that cap that's on the top can do a much better job of throwing that LED bulb that's in there, throwing the light out onto the street, because based on the feedback from not only the board, but Bill as well, that light is being received by some of the residents that have their apartments here in the downtown area. So we're going to try to reduce some of that glare so it's not bleeding into their household at night, as well as what's called a low glare optic with a backlight shield on the overhead. And so it's going to, if the street light facing this way, it's going to have a shield that sits right under it to prevent all that light going back into the residence, the shop, and going in out of the red light. So that's what we're trying to do, maximize the amount of light that's on the red light. Okay? Don't stop me if you don't have any questions at all. There's honestly a bunch of engineering and fun stuff that I like. Please stop me. Bankhead Street. So from the bridge all the way to Munster, we received, pretty evident when you walk on it. The long arms that fill up the roadway, some of those are sagging, right? They're a little bit older. What we propose is replacing them with a new, these new arms that are a little bit shorter. So the aesthetic's going to be much better, and they're going to last much longer than the arms that are sitting there. So it's going to improve the aesthetic, as well as some of those that are standing there right now. We can put a new LED fixture there, but you're not going to get that consistency in the lighting because you have to tilt the light up. You have a few that maybe need a light to tilt it up a little bit, a few that don't. And so by putting up new arms, we're going to have some really good consistent lighting going on that red light. Okay. And the last one, I think, is what maybe everybody really cares about here is the Tanglefoot Trail. So we propose about 500 feet of new lighting along, and Bill and Mayor and I need to, as well as the board, about feedback, finalize which 500 foot area of the Tanglefoot Trail we're going to improve lighting. It's going to be some more ambient lighting. We're not trying to light it up like the roadway tonight, right? But we're trying to, if folks are getting off the trail at night, they go into their cars, as well as I believe there's a coffee shop right there and a few other shopping areas coming onto Main Street, onto Bankhead. We want to improve those lighting levels so we improve the safety there. Okay? All right. That's what the orange dots right now on the left-hand picture. Those are a little too far south. We had a meeting last week with Mayor Kent and Billy and Lud. We need to move those a little north. So that's our plan right now. And we'll be poles. Yeah, we originally had proposed light. I think you've probably seen them shopping here. They're about 3 foot tall. But I think that the cost is about the same, but I think it's a whole lot better. They provide a little bit more light, and the cost is about the same. So that's good. Okay, so what are the financials of Beta today, and what is the project? How is the project structured? So we're looking at a 20-year lease. The fixtures that you guys are going to be buying are rated for 22 years. So that's the good thing, right? The assets are going to outlast the lifetime of the project. So year one, the city is looking to save $110,000 on what it used to spend of the 160 on your streetlight bill, right? So the net savings on that is about $50,000 a year. We've got some fees in there, the maintenance fees in case you have a drunk driver that hits a pole to throw out the streetlight, right? Most of the time, insurance covers that. But all these lights come with 10-year warranties on the right. So when you look at the net project impact, that's that big middle circle, center circle there. Your new utility bill is only going to be $50,000 a year versus the $160 that you used to spend, right? That's $110,000 a year in savings. What does it cost annually for the city to do that? We have it projected out right now at about $109,000 a year. So that first year, you're going to be about even, right? You're going to net out, and then over time, as we work out the financing with y'all's local banks, the savings will increase, right? The payments are consistent, but your energy costs would have continued to go up, right? Material costs and inflation. So that's how we get to, over the lifetime of the project, you're going to save $3 million, and after paying for the project, you're going to net $1 million. That's kind of how everything shakes out. When I originally came to you guys, I think we talked about a gross savings for the project annually of about $20,000 a year. These three other areas where we're trying to improve the lighting, those are where we're using those funds. That's where the savings is going. $20,000. I think it was like $15,000 to $20,000. Questions? I'm gonna keep going. That's a really cool thing from Columbus. What are the next steps? So over the next 4 weeks, an hour until the next board meeting, our team, Bill's team, are going to finalize the scope, right? So we're very clear on what kind of fixtures and where the existing streetlights are today don't go to LED, right? We need to finalize the 3 small projects that I've identified to you today, and we'll bring that back in April. I'm going to work with Mr. Russell as well on the contracts and the financing, so I'll loop him in to get him squared away on the terms and conditions. And then we'll come back and wrap a bow around it and present it to you guys. It won't be substantially different than it is right now. There won't be any material differences for you guys to consider approval at your April board meeting. And if you guys what should move forward, then we'll start ordering materials and start putting up streetlights. To give you a timeline, we're doing a project right now in the city of Goldsport, which is around Nashville. They have 1,200 streetlights, and we're only going to take 4 weeks to throw up all their streetlights. You guys have about 150 more. That time to stay 4 to 6 weeks of installation. So we'll get them up pretty quick. You'll see the changes pretty quickly.
Hey, I have 2 questions. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
This is Amy. Okay. So you may have already said this, and I might have missed it, but the color of the bulb is going to be that pink clear or the bluish color?
It's definitely not going to be the blue. So blue, I'm glad you asked that. You're talking about color temperature, Miss Wood.
Yeah.
5,000 is blue. And when the first LEDs came out, everything was that white blue that you're talking about, and that was 5,000 Kelvin. The color temperature that we just did in Billisville is about 3,000. It's not too far off from what you see out there today. But, the yellow ones that you see, that's like 2,000, 2,700. We don't want it that yellow, but we need a little bit more crisp light. So they're going to be about 3,000, which may not help too much, but it's not going to be that white blue that you're talking about.
Yeah, that white blue is not soft. Yeah. Okay.
It's not soft, but it's very glary.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this is wonderful. I'm glad we're doing this project, and I just wanted to check on that. So but the bulb color is going to be the same downtown. Everywhere is going to be the same color, right? It's all going to be
It is going to be the same color throughout the whole city.
Okay. And then one more question, and this is for the mayor. Mayor Kent, have you got other people looking at the trail with you? Because we just don't want to junk it up with a bunch of light fixtures. I don't know. That makes me a little nervous on the trail. So.
Yeah, Rick and his team are looking. Yeah, we'll know that before we do.
You may want to include NASA, and include community development. I don't know. We just want to make sure. If you have I don't know. That trail is. We've already, just get some other opinions. Maybe it just makes me nervous with how much light, where's it going, and what's it going to look like. I'm not saying I know. I don't know what the aesthetics need to be, but we might need to make sure we've got,
Well, yeah, I thought it was around, especially around that welcome center down there, which we have called some time, but it'll let people get off the trail into their vehicles safely.
Okay. Thanks. That's all I had.
Thank you, Alderman Livingston.
Yes. They are not. So, security lights versus street lights. Security lights, Alderman Anderson pays for. Street lights, Alderman pays for. So, the interesting about this, we have a great relationship with a company that specializes in security lighting. So, I think that post this project, if the sales team is up for it, we could talk about keeping that consistency with LED lighting. But that would have to be you would have to make that decision for yourself. If you say you had a street light in your backyard, you wanted to change that to LED, sales team would come to do it and charge a different rate, and we could go about doing it that way. But it is not. It's not fun to do. It could be. Could be. Yeah. Fixture should be the same. It could be similar, and the color would be the same. It'll have to color pretty easily. Yeah. Other questions? I think. Go ahead.
There are some, but it's probably not.
It's really dark out there. Not that you no, because that's a house up there.
Yep.
They look in the light up there as well.
You guys are interesting. Now's the time.
Yeah, we get the calls. That'd be good, yeah. I hadn't thought about that, yes.
What we could do is I could turn around and put together a service budget on, and maybe have Bill you guys the board.
Yeah.
No. The interesting thing about that, if you think about what this project costs and what it's been, the new streetlights that are going today are paid for over the lifetime of the project was saving. You guys are getting essentially free streetlights, it's not such thing as free sandwich. They have an ROI, right? They're paying for themselves over the lifetime of the asset. By throwing in additional projects, additional lighting, you're not achieving the savings, but think of it as I'm getting new lights over on Plaza Parkway for 50 cents on the dollar. Because we're still creating savings, but we're leveraging those savings to pay for street lighting. Yeah. I'll get with Bill, and maybe the next week or so we can make it. Yeah. And we had actually brought several other ideas on other areas that may or may not need lighting. If you provide a grip back, you could be like, hey, we don't, not ready for this just yet. We're doing a project here. I think you have like a grant over off of, what was the MDOT project?
Yeah, there were some other areas when we first sat down with Rudy to get them to look and just see what would kind of what the cost would be to if we wanted to do I guess more revitalization or just more than just change the bulb out. We're talking about different kind of poles or arms. And then again, I guess the issue you run into, you start to all the savings get eaten up, and then instead of the city saving money on the bill, it's actually paying a little bit more. But the benefit is you've got all the nice new lights across the city. But again, it may be something the city, again, this is a great time to do it. It may be something to consider. But I definitely think we ought to look at this area and keep just talking about it. And if any of y'all have other areas that you're concerned about, let me know, because we may have already looked at it. If not, now's the time we can get ready to check and just see what it will cost if we wanted to change something in a certain area.
Hey, Bill, what area was Keith talking about? I couldn't hear Keith. What area?
Park Plaza, I feel where it was.
Oh, yeah.
The sports place out there, and there are street lights out there, but they're pretty far off the road. They're on that pole line, and some of them may be out right now. We're not doing much on replacing street lights because we're waiting to see what's going to happen with the project. We basically, everything we're putting up now is LED, so most of the lights that are out really can't be repaired. So we need to put up something now and then have them, we're basically paying for it twice if we put up new lights right now. So that may be another reason it's kind of dark out there. But those lights are quite a ways off the roadway.
Okay. If you do a temporary replacement and it doesn't match everything or something, we might want to put something out to the press and make sure the public knows that we're doing it temporary, because that's a bit, we get a lot of people asking about the matching and the blaring and, all that stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
if we do some kind of temporary fix, we might need to let people know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if everything rolls through next month, and the project will start and it'll be over with pretty quick.
Good, good.
We just tell them, so.
I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, right. Yeah, one thing that works for us out there, Katie, those lights have not been out there very long, and they're all LED right now. And I'm not sure if they will match you. They wouldn't be far off. And there are a lot of lights out there, Kevin. I say there are a lot. There's 1,400. I mean, probably 25 lights, maybe 20 lights. They're pretty near, though. It may not be.
It may not be. We can give those guys a call to see what colors they're using. But to be honest, you guys are our client. We want to give you the best looking light. If they've got something that's not as good looking as him, I don't want to give you guys advice that doesn't look as good. But we'll give them a shout. Maybe really,
I got a contact.
Give them a call and figure out what colors they're using. But one last structure, you guys don't have to go out for RFP financing. You don't have to go to the bank. Essentially, we're your bank right now. So you guys got an annual, a multi-year agreement with us. You're going to be paying us, just over $100,000 a year for your street lights to be upgraded. So that's a cool business, simplicity of a project like this. But kind of just want to make sure they understood that before we come back in April. We say, hey, here's this cool project. What do y'all think? We wanted to kind of paint a picture before we got there. Walk the career run. So, any other questions? Appreciate all the feedback. Yeah, and if my contact, I'll send my contact around. If anything comes to mind, are there any other areas in the Keith like you came up with that maybe some improved lighting would help, or you want us to take a look at it? And we may get the project going, and we throw the new lights up, and you guys start getting phone calls that other areas can improve. I mean, we're just on the road, so we can always figure out how to do additional things. But this is the base project, and we want to achieve these savings quickly. That's kind of the goal.
All right, thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, guys.
Bill. And now kind of back to my list, Mayor. The first item I have is our pay request on the wastewater treatment plant, the Ajax Construction. Pay request number 12 in the amount of $205,532.50 for work complete on the plant last month. And just a real quick update, we met with them last week and just trying to kind of see where we're on the schedule. And everything looks like it's going to be wrapped up at the plant, late summer. So, it'll take a little while to get the plant, actually bring it up and get started. But they're on schedule to complete the plant late summer.
Great. Well, motion to approve that pay request. So, motion by Johnny, I have a second. Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item I have, there is an equipment auction at the fairgrounds this Saturday. And last month we approved a couple of trucks in the auction. We did come across one of the pieces of equipment. It's a pretty old right-of-way bush hog. I don't even know if it's got a manufacturer or serial number on it. I'm not sure how to even describe it, but we were going to basically just send it for scrap. But the guy doing the auction thinks he can sell it and do better. So we would like to put this right-of-way bush hog in the auction.
You need a motion for that?
Yeah, I think so. We'll declare it surplus equipment, and then I'll come back and tell y'all.
All right, we got a motion. Second by Kevin Bell. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
The next item, in our bond, 1 second, bond auction that we had last, sorry, was it Reagan?
Let me remind you, Bill, would you make a point to let the board know what the results of that auction were after it's over with? I think we were required.
Yes, I will, Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
I think we're kind of required to let the public know what it's all for.
Yes, at the next board meeting, I'll bring back the result. I'll let everybody know what we're able to get for the items. The next item in our bond project that we approved last summer, we have money in there for an automated metering system for the electric system, and we do have those specs pretty much ready to advertise for the automated metering system for our electric system. Our goal is to eventually include water and gas. On the front end, again, we're just going to try to get the electric meters done and get all the infrastructure in that will handle all the meters. We just want to focus on the electric first. That's where the biggest payback is, and we'd like permission to advertise for that in the near future.
We have a motion by Johnny, have a second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion.
On the electric part, we also are in need of a new bucket truck for our right-of-way crews. The truck they're using right now is the oldest one we have in the fleet. It's been very problematic over the last couple of years. We do finally, it took us a while to get specs together to be able to bid the truck. We do have specs prepared, and we'd like to advertise for a new right-of-way truck for that electric crew.
Got a motion by Keith to advertise, a second by Kevin Dale. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Maybe the last item I have is something that Commissioner Brandon Presley has asked us to consider, as well as our Representative Sam Freemore and Senator Kathy Chisholm. That they've been working with us on this. The co-ops around us are able to go into the broadband business, and at this point, we are not. It's just not legal for us to enter that line of business, and there doesn't seem to be much of an appetite at the legislature to let municipals go into the broadband business. So we don't want our area to be left out. So we are trying to research all the options that are out there to make sure our customers get served. One option is for the electric utility to put up their own fiber for our communication purposes, and you could possibly lease that to a provider in order to provide internet around the community. We don't know if that's the option we want to take. Again, there's a lot of questions about that because it's still expensive to put fiber up, and there'd have to be a revenue stream there for us to pay it back. So there's a lot of hoops to go through for us to say that's definitely what we wanted to do. But in order for us to lease those facilities, the state has to, I guess, approve a local and private bill saying that we can lease facilities to a third party. Again, this is just a hurdle that would be out of the way in the event we did want to go in this direction. It may be a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years before we know. But this would just be one thing, a roadblock that would be out of the way that we would not have to worry about if we wanted to go that direction. It does not commit us to anything. Again, it doesn't say we're definitely going to do it. It just gives us that option. It's also my understanding that the counties that we serve, Union, Benton, Marshall, and Tippah County, they've already passed the resolution for us. So I think we're they've all had, their boards all met before us. We just got the resolution in the last few days. And I guess what I would like to ask is we approve the resolution pending Reagan, review to make sure, everything, because I'm not sure if Reagan's had a chance to review it, but I would say pending Reagan's review. Well, Reagan, have you seen the resolution?
I have not yet seen it, so yeah, I do need to put that.
Okay.
Bill, quick question, and then I definitely will make the motion. But this is what Brandon Presley recommends, and our state legislators, right? They want it.
Yes, again, they recommend it as a possible option for us.
Okay.
They think that we need to get this piece out of the way. Again, and it may be a year or 2 or 3 before it becomes very, prevalent for us. But they ought to go ahead and do this.
All right. So moved. I moved that we go forward with pending Reagan's.
Okay, we got a motion by Amy to have a second, and that's Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, just to make it clear, I've been asked several times, but the state will not allow municipalities to go into the fiber business because it has to stand on its own. and they're afraid all of them won't stand on their own, so we cannot sell internet through the light, gas, and water. It's got to be a standalone project. So that's the reason the municipalities are not allowed to sell internet anymore, or never was, but especially now. Okay, next is community development. Billie Jean,
We had two visits from our Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year and Miss Hospitality, and they're going to defer until we meet face-to-face, so they're not going to be on the agenda tonight. And unless you have other questions, I emailed you my report earlier in the day.
Okay, any questions? Thank you, Billie Jean. Police department, Chris, you're next. I'm gonna flip this. Are you gonna use yours?
Okay.
Even the board, how my
Good.
well, I got two items on this fall. First is a new hire, and it's going to be it's a contingency hire because we have an officer that's currently on a workman's comp for an undetermined amount of time. So I spoke with Mr. Sam Wicker Morris, who's recently graduated, I think, in May from Ole Miss with a criminal justice degree. He's interested in taking the job. He's local. His family's from here. He went to school here. I think he'd make a good asset to the department, especially with what I'm having a proposition with right now. So he's agreed that he's interested in the job. I'm interested in hiring him. I asked both y'all allow me to hire Sam Wicker Morris.
I got a motion by Kevin Dale, second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
I have one thing to say very quickly.
Okay, go ahead, Reagan.
I was just going to say we've done those conditional hires before with when we have military people who are away for a time, and we by law have to preserve their positions. So we bring them in. So this is the same thing we're doing here since we have somebody out.
All right, any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any motion carries on that.
Second item, I'm going to pass this around so you can see it, but let me explain it first. Our alarm system is our database system for the police department. That's how we do all our reports, with the exception of e-crash and e-citation. If we come to a theft report or parking lot crash report or any type of disturbance, this coincides with our arrest reports, evidence collections, so on and so forth. We bought that system in 2013. It's right around the time I took it. 2013. We bought the system. The city paid for it in 2 different years. I think it was 2013, 2014. The city paid $20,000 each year for a total of $40,000. And the city of New Albany owns that system. That's how they did it back then. You could actually buy and own your own system. Because we have the folks in New Albany with the IT, the county help to keep us up. In full disclosure, about 2 years after we did this, the same company came up with a court module. Court module never did really work. We ended up having several times to try to get them to get it worked out, and it never didn't work, so they refunded our money. Unbeknownst to me, we quit paying service about that time. So, in a nutshell, what has happened now is that it's time, we're several updates behind, and the most probably pushing factor in this is it used to be called a UCR, Uniform Crime Reporting, which was every agency was supposed to report all the crime stats to DOJ. Now it's changed to NIBRS, NIBR is NIBRS, and it's National Reporting something. But anyway, they've mandated where all agencies have to have this, and we're actually past the time. So I've told several other chiefs are all in the same boat trying to come up with a solution. Well, this company has come up with their own way to do that that's already attached for our system. In other words, all the data we already have and all the system we're using right now, it'll all mesh. And it'll give us basically a portal to automatically upload that stuff every month or send it every month, and we're in compliance. And what's been out of compliance mean? If we're out of compliance, we're not eligible for any grants. And that's federal grants, but has a plan in the state. Well, pretty much even state grants are funded through the Fed. So you may have just purely federal grants come from the Fed, and then you may have state grants, but the money came to them was from the federal government. So we're eligible for grants to try to get this problem ironed out. Now, to get us back up and going, and to get all the updates done, and there's some more stuff they've thrown in that's new. There's a lot of stuff they come out with that's new that were not available at the time, or simply wasn't how they did it. So the amount to get us back going is $23,500. My problem with this number, when I discussed it with the folks, is why are we having to pay so much more? Because we already own our system. Well, her simple question is now, is this the way it's done now? We don't sell our systems anymore. You can't own our system anymore. It's a monthly pay, or yearly rather. It's a cloud-based system. And if you were to start today with us, it'd be $50. And not including anything we want to add on. So they put this package together for me, primarily for the NIBRs, but they also threw in basically NCIC query, which is basically that built it for our officers too, because we have mobile systems on our cars. The officers run a driver's license or a tag in their car to free up some of the dispatch time. And this also comes with off-site. They're going to do our off-site backup. This all is included in this price. Now, it starts off as $23,500, and yearly after this is $16,000. So it'll be a yearly thing that comes up. The $23,500, I've told Ms. Frankie, we've looked at the task force numbers. I can afford to do this, to make this upgrade and get this started this year at $23,500 and come out of the task force. So we afford to do that. It'll be up to you and the rest to try to work it out for the 2022 budget year and so on and so forth, or it's been able to fund it. So we can handle upgrades this time, and maybe able to handle it from here on out. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's what I'm asking the board to do. I'll pass this around so y'all can kind of see. But in a nutshell, I'm asking the board for this year to allow us to spend the $23,500 to upgrade our system and get us in compliance.
Out of drug task force.
Out of drug task force. Thank you, Mayor.
Right, what's the will of the board? On the 23-5 out of drug task force. You got a question?
It's just 23.5 this year.
That includes the 16.
No, it's just 23.5 this year. Yeah, and then I think it's on that quote, kind of, but then it'll be after that. It'll be after, so the 22 budget will be 16,000.
I got a motion, but Johnny, I have a second. Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion now? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carried. Is that all you got? Or you got something like that?
Later.
Oh.
Thank y'all, Mr. Mayor and Board.
All right, thank you, Chris. Okay, fire department.
Hey, Mayor and Board, the only thing I do have is we're asking permission to run the advertisement in the paper and on social media to replenish our hiring pool.
Okay. Got a motion by Kevin Dale to authorize that. Do I have a second? Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Is that all you got, Mark?
That's all I got. Have a good one.
Okay. All right, thank you. Come on, turn her around. Yeah, we have. It's so pretty. Yeah.
I emailed the monthly report. We had a zoning meeting request from Anthony Keenan at 603 Carter Avenue for grants and a siding and parking lot requirements was approved. That's all I got.
Well, Todd, you got any questions on that? All right, that's it. Thank you. Okay, let's move down to the update agenda. The railroad, it looks like they're doing, I've called the railroad, and obviously this is not the right one, but he said, yeah, they are going to do some work on the bridge, but I don't know exactly to what extent. And he was supposed to call me back 2 weeks ago, but I hadn't heard back from him. But it looks like they have got some material out there to do some work on the bridge. So, like again, I don't know what extent. Star Avenue Highway 30, we have no update on that from MDOT. So we'll move to the consent agenda, which is approved correction of the February 21 minutes, approved correction of approved February 2nd, 2021 minutes, and approved February 9th, 2021 minutes.
You mispronounced that first one. The first one was claims docket.
Do what now?
You said that first one.
Oh, claims docket, I'm sorry, yeah. On the first one, February claims docket. I need a motion to approve.
You don't have a motion. What you ask here is merely, since this is all kind of new, do you have any objections to it passing by?
Okay.
And if nobody objects, then it so passes.
Y'all hear that? No, you don't have to even vote if nobody objects to 3. Okay, no objections. The action agenda is the spray park opening. It's something we need to discuss. And, it looks like, we estimated maybe 40, 45 last year. It, looks like it's going to be closer to 50 to redo what we need to redo out there and, open it. Hopefully this, sometime maybe June. Now, we usually try to open Memorial Day, but with the weather and everything, it may be put off. Could even be July before it's open. So I guess my question is, do y'all want to go ahead and fix that and put $50,000 in it and open it later in the summer, or how do you want to handle that this year? It looks like that the snow and ice did some damage to the slide, put a crack in it, so we'll have to get somebody to look at that to see if it's load bearing or if it's going to hurt the safety of the slide anymore.
I'd like to hear if anybody's heard from citizens about the spray park. I actually have heard from several who do want it back open, because I've mentioned, as how we talked about doing something like Fair Park has, and doing something that looks a little better than our plastic situation. But a lot of people from out of town come use that spray park. A lot of my friends with children use it, and I've heard everybody really wants it. So I just wondered what anybody else has heard, or what anybody else thinks, or any other feedback anybody's gotten.
Well, I hear feedback all the time, both sides of it, but I think it is an interest in the citizens of this. And like you said, I go out there and see the cars from Pontotoc, Lafayette County, Lee County even, quite often, to be honest with you. But we're going to put some money in it to fix it right. And that's, I move all that pump system above ground and put a building there for the pumps to sit in. Right now they're buried in the ground, and the heat is just very abusive to them. So we got one out right now, and that's like $5,000 to fix that one. So that's kind of what we're. That is too.
What did Johnny say? I can't hear.
Well, he said Jason Butler had given us a estimate of $45,000 to fix it and rewire it, but he thought we needed to have that slide looked at first to see if it's safe. But that's the dilemma we get into, is if we wait and have the slide looked at, and then, unless we want to make a motion on the condition of slide safe, that we move forward. But it'll be April then. So, we're thinking probably takes 2 months because it's got to be a slab poured and rewired and replumbed in the building, and then direct the building. I have no idea. And the question was, do we think there's going to be any COVID-related issues, even when it's time for it to open? Because that's one of the most probably unhealthiest environments we have. So that's the next question.
I'd like to know what community development thinks. I want their opinion.
I think it's important to have that piece of equipment for our visitors and citizens, but that's a lot of money to be going into it, and I hope that there's a plan so aesthetically it is as pleasing and not just a quick fix.
Open the spray park. Open the spray park. Okay. I just wanted y'all's opinion. Okay, great. All right. So, on that note, Tim, with the aesthetics and what it's going to look like and all that, I mean, Jason, have he drawn up something? I mean,
no, that's just to replace the equipment and move it all above ground. Now, he's not into aesthetics or landscaping or anything, so that'd be a whole different ball game.
that'd be more money, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Aesthetics for what? The building?
The pump building. I mean, where's it going to go? What's it going to look like? How's it going to be covered?
It'll be on the north end of be between there and the spray park now, and it'll be a metal building. So now we can plant something around it or change siding. That's $45,000.
Yeah. Can we just meet and have a plan?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Just include Billie Jean in the, and the NASA, in the beauty of it. So, yeah. I want to, do we have the money in the budget to go ahead with it, Johnny?
We put 45 in there.
Okay.
All right, Keith's got a comment. July maybe, yeah. Absolutely could be. I don't know.
What did Keith say?
Okay, his comment was he thinks we need to get the slide looked at and get a new plan redrawn that includes landscaping or aesthetics. Now, to do that, it's going to cost me more money, and if the slide has to be replaced, it can be a lot more money. But then come back in April and have new bids and find out the amount then and look at it.
I actually agree because I don't think we want to do some half job. I mean, if we're going to do it, let's do it right.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll defer that to April then. Anybody got any other comments on the slide?
Who has to go out there and look at it? Like, so at the next meeting, like, what has to be done?
Well, first we got to get a structural engineer or something like that to tell us that slide's okay for 15 kids to get up on top of it.
All right. So do we have one, or we have to hire one for that?
Oh, we'll have to hire structural, and that's going to add to the cost, of course. But before we put kids on it, I'd like to know.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't know, it may not be cracked bad enough that whoever the structural engineer may say it's not hurt, but we don't take that chance.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I should know. Like in 30 days, will we have all the questions answered that we need for you guys to vote on that?
I hope.
Okay.
We don't know that for sure, but we hope so.
But you'll look into it, Tim, right?
Yeah. We'll get all that by April meeting. Okay, item B is street overlay discussion. I think we'll want to put this on the agenda.
We hired them to do a pavement preservation project. They completed it roughly about a year ago, about this time last year. And I know I did, and I think the rest of the aldermen gave roads that they recommended. They came in, researched, gave recommendations on what they wanted to overlay, what they thought needed to be cape sealed, what needed to be fog sealed, and what needed to be crack sealed. And I gave a list of roads to be done. Last year there was 3 roads to be overlaid and then several cape sealed. None of that's been done, which I know COVID played a factor and the weather played a factor. But I just wanted to bring that up. We need to be utilizing this money that we invested in this pavement preservation project, and it needs to be in the work. Right now, at the end of the term, we're kind of got our hands tied. We can't spend money to do paving, unfortunately, right now. And I don't know, Reagan, that may be an answer for you, how much we can spend. But that money, we allocated money. We've got money budgeted. We did last year, and it wasn't used. And that fund is even greater now. So I just wanted to add roads to my list and get that discussed, and Mayor reach out to the Cape Seal companies and the overlay companies to come in and give quotes if we can get some done before the election. If not, have it all ready to go when the election's over and get stuff done, payment done this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. That if we can't do it this fourth quarter, we can put it in play. Or next board, as long as they have the ability to back out of it if they so choose. But the question of whether it's legal or not is largely fact dependent, and will depend on how much money it is and what that compares to our budget, when the contract's formed, when the work's done. I had one of these recently. I had to check them, so I can always call the ethical people down at the department of that does that local place down in Jackson and get their approval of it before we move forward. Once I know what those facts are.
Because it's already in our budget, Reagan, I just wondered legally, I guess you'll have to check, but we'd already allocated it, right? So it seems like you can go in and spend it, but I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I think they spent a fourth of the budget the last quarter. So it'd be a fourth
Oh, gotcha.
what we allocated.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And it also applies to contracting, not just spending. So if you contract to do something but spend it afterwards, that still could be a violation.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Well, I agree with Will that we need to have it ready to go because this has been delayed over and over. I know Moss Hill is supposed to be a priority. Johnny and I share that road, our boards do, and I thought that was one of the first priorities, and so yeah.
They're going to start in May on it. We've already y'all approved the contract in April.
Okay.
But they can't get. The only 2 times were March the 15th, which is impossible. That's the street department. They cannot get it milled in 2 weeks. They point blank said, and that was part of the deal. But they are going to get the hose fixed and get the street milled by March 22nd. So they're going to start then. And the guy that did the chip seal, he said it's take a day for him to do it. And then the guys that's overlaying it says 4 days to overlay it. And we'll start right past Sam Tom Barkley. Which brings on another problem. Sam Tom's in need of something.
I was just about to say, didn't you have a big pothole problem out on Sam Tom?
Yeah, yesterday was a nightmare here. There was about 10 people hit it Saturday night. It developed quickly. I guess sometime Saturday, but you could not see it. And we had a bunch of people hit it and ruined tires. But I'm going to talk to the county and then talk to the state. It's a state aid road, but we don't get any money to keep it maintenance. So we just need to work something out. Maybe we can get the state to participate. Reagan, you can, if you know any more about that than I do. And being a grant, that safe route to school's grant might come in handy there, Tracy, if you want to look at it. But I know that's a priority to get the school safely in this fall and not having to ride on bumpy roads. Okay, anybody got anything else concerning that? All right, we don't have to. Well, we took some of them away patched some streets, but I'm telling you now, it's been a nightmare this past year to get people committed to paving. Spot paving especially. They just don't want to do it. We met last week with APAC for a pre-construction conference, and I asked them, would y'all be interested in doing our spot paving? And he said, you probably can't afford us. We got 12 or 15 employees we have to keep busy, and we'll give you a price, but you can't afford it. So that's the problem. A small company, and they don't make a lot of money off of it. So the only thing I know to do is put it out for bids and see what we get back as far as because we got to fix some of those spots before we can come back and cape seal it or overlay it or whatever we want to do. That's what we're trying. Our fix is to dig them all up, the soft spot, and fill them with crusher run, and then we got to get somebody to overlay it. Now,
Hey, Tim, can you hear me? I looked up that statute that deals with the spending prohibition or limitation, and it does have certain exceptions, including emergency expenditures. So if you have something like some spots in roads which are a safety issue, and as long as you declare that an emergency, you can deal with those within that 4th quarter.
Okay, thank you. I'd say Tom was definitely an emergency right now. They did fill it in, but it's a lot of truck traffic out there, and it won't stay filled in, especially if it rains and trucks hit it. And I think that Silver Link is the best bang for your buck. So if you got another street that needs paving more, it's not necessarily say, take this one first and follow it. It's their recommendation, I guess you'd call it best bang for the buck. Carter Avenue is getting to be a problem. So here's the problem with Carter. It's concrete under the pavement. It's going to have to be sectioned out with a saw, and then they're making a membrane now that you can put between the joints. I mean, they say you got to cut it out 8 inches. And because what happens when it gets to the end of each other, it butts up, and it starts raising up, and it cracks all the pavement. Then in the winter, it goes back down, well, the pavement's already cracked. So, I think that's one definitely we need to look at too. Okay, I know Kevin Dale's been saying that, but we just got to decide if we're going to, if you can do overlay 3 streets, spend $1.5 million right now. And Carter Avenue would be expensive because they'll have to saw cut a bunch of it. So it's going to be just an estimate of $400,000 to $500,000.
And I'm just being a know-it-all, but I think we need to kind of remember before we make big expensive changes to Carter, kind of what our goal is for that and our city plan, like how we want to develop Carter. So instead of just ripping up and putting in something new that we're going to have to rip up and fix later, I'm not saying we shouldn't touch Carter because it needs it, but like have the vision in mind of what we want it to look like in 10 years before we go spend millions of dollars on it today. and kind of maybe adjust our plan for that road. I'm just saying.
Well, okay, I mean, I think anything you do with the base, which is the concrete, has got to be fixed. Now, if we overlay it after that, or I don't know if you could even spot tape for it, but I think it'll have to be fixed to start with, the base part anyway. What was the budget the last 3 months? April, May, and June. Takes about 2 months. Yeah, I mean, you can line it. I guess we can, or can we, Reagan? The last 3 months, can we sign contracts to pay next summer or something?
Again, either spending or contracts can both violate that prohibition.
Okay.
If we just need to look at it carefully, and it may be that anything
You're gonna look it up.
is going to be subject to the next board's approval.
He's saying that you may not can sign a contract to pay it next last 3 months. Unless you declare it an emergency, which, spots of slam time might get declared. But as far as getting the bids on the entire street, it takes 2 months anyway, because you got to get specs written and put it out for bids. Did you say 2 months, Frankie? At least.
But can we do a call for the bids, and then when the new board's in, they can listen to the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's what we need to do. Go ahead and get it out there, because then by then the new board will be on, and they can listen to the presentations and make the decision.
Yeah, I mean, we could first off, you're going to have to get an engineer to draw up specs, something for these people to bid off of.
Okay. Well, let's move on to that. I mean, let's get going. I mean, I agree with Will. We've got to get going.
Well, now, we got Will Denton, works over at Like Gas and Water now, and we think he can draw up specs on. He's got the PE stamp. So, excellent.
So you'll give us an update at the next meeting where we are on that?
Who's she asking?
I'm asking Ms. Tim.
We don't do that now. We don't take it per ton because it got so high. We quit that 7 or 8 years ago. I guess they fell probably that. Because what happened was Ergon got the bid, and we couldn't get them to do these short streets. And they basically said they don't like moving in for less than 500 tons. I mean, that's the problem. These big companies that give you, they just want it less than a 500 ton plus job. They won't. I think we can get Will to do it.
So Tim, you're going to check on seeing if Will can draw up specs, and you'll let us know the next.
Yeah, we'll have an answer on that by the next meeting, and may have some drawn up. I mean.
Okay. And if we need to meet in between, I mean, we can. Like if there's something, especially for Sam T. Barkley, if we need to go ahead and do an emergency. But that's something.
Actually, overlaid because Patch's not going to help it. Can we just do an amendment to their contract and see if it's not above a certain amount, or do we have to go back and rebid all that? Just the section for.
I'm not going to give you the answer, but my guess is that if it is a significant addition, that you would have to rebid that second part. But I can check on that.
Okay. April. Yeah. Do what? Well, if it gets over 50,000, you got to take bids, and then you got to write specs before you take bids. Reagan, another question. Can we make a motion now to spend up to a certain amount on paving, and then come back later and do specs and take bids.
If I understand what you're proposing, I think you can, but you're not going to be able to contract for it in the fourth quarter if it's
That's true.
unless it's within the budget, fourth of the budget.
Yeah, y'all understand what he's saying? You can go ahead and do the bids and, write specs and take bids, but he don't think you can contract in the fourth quarter.
It depends
If it's
upon
over a quarter of the budget or fourth of the budget for this year.
And Johnny may have to look at the budget to make that determination.
Well, yeah, that's the emergency. Yeah, wait a minute.
So, I'm just thinking out loud, could Johnny and them not go out there and bid it, and we hire whoever it is, come in and spot pay 25 or 30, at least 5 holes of the work in certain towns, and as long as it's under $50,000, did we not do that without all the things? Yeah,
You want to take that?
if it works,
Yeah, but, as far as those potholes, I think we could. Do you, Reagan? But actually, you can't have 30 emergencies across town, can you, or can you?
Well, I thought if you determine emergencies and they're legitimate emergencies, I guess it's possible that could happen, but I would be a little leery of playing loose with it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we had paid him, and he told me this week, because I was on him again. I said, look, you're not getting paid for any of it until it's fixed. He said, well, just take it out and out, and I'll fix Owen Road. So I guess he said it needs overlaying. That's the first I've heard of that. Yeah.
So is anybody gonna come back and do anything else to Highland?
No. He said he'd take it out and wouldn't charge for it. It needed overlaying, his opinion.
So we just need, it's gotta be on the list to do something completely different to it, right?
Overlay.
Yeah, overlay, okay. Alright, so we're not making any decisions tonight on anything, or?
No, not as far as the cost. We're gonna look at, I'm just positive Sound Time's gonna have to be, if we declare an emergency and,
Yeah, definitely.
Johnny and them, I think, can mill it up, but it's gonna take them a little while. It's rough.
So do we have something out there right now saying warning and caution?
Well, we've got it filled in with coal mixtures, Carl, but that won't last. Yeah, it popped it up quick. But it'll last until it rains like today and 18-wheeler hits it or something. It'll knock it out. It's coal mix don't stay. It's not permanent. Then we can continue to fill up with coal mix until we, Johnny's paying attention to it now. But we had several hit it before it was even known about. The police worked 2 or 3, or I think they had about 4 or 5 calls, and they finally called Johnny and told him there's a problem out there, and he went and filled it in whenever they called him Saturday night.
But he's watching it to know when it needs to
Yeah, he is.
Well, that's definitely an emergency, Tim. Like, I think we got to go ahead and do that ASAP. Yeah, okay.
If we can find somebody that'll pay that smaller area, White paving again is a nightmare, and I guess we can check with Murphy. I don't know who can. I don't know. He can't.
If anybody on this call has any ideas about that, please call the mayor. We got a lot of people on here, so maybe somebody knows somebody that can do spot paving.
So, 487, I believe it was. You remember? Yeah. Did I respond to Lance for Drew? He just texted me and said, he's the one that did Miles. Highland now, and it's not a good job at all. So we told him if he come back and clean it all up, we would pay him. But he said, I just forget Highland. So he did all right on some of the others. Owen Road's not good at all. Some of the other spots he did okay. But overall, it's not real good right now.
Hey Tim, there is an exception in that prohibition against spending, which may allow us to move forward on things that we put out for bid. So I'm just going to have to check that out a little bit closer.
Okay, that'd be great. All right, anybody got anything else? If not, we need a motion to consider executive session for personnel reasons. Got a motion by Kevin Dale, have a second. All right, second by Will or Johnny.